And welcome back to the channel. This is Thomas Goes Nostalgic, and on this episode, we're going to be taking this barrel of slime and turning it into realistic diorama props. And once again, welcome back to the channel. If you can go ahead and hit like, hit subscribe, and ring that bell so that you get notifications of when I post my next episode. So in this episode, we're going to be looking at this container of slime that I got from the Dollar Tree. So $1.25. You can buy a bunch of these if you see them. I always like to grab a bunch. And then you can start decorating your dioramas with some realistic props. So this is just made for kids. There's some slime in the middle. It's kind of gross. So I just peel everything back, I repaint it, and you can turn it into a realistic prop for your diorama. So I have a few of these. I'm going to go ahead and paint them a bunch of different ways just to show you how creative you can get. But just for a budget, this is a great idea. So let's get into it. So first thing you're going to want to do is peel off these stickers. And it's kind of a pain in the butt. If you have a heat gun or hair dryer, that'll probably make life easier. But I just took my time and peeled them off. And once you get all the stickers off and you can peel it away, then just check out the ooze. I'm going to keep some of the ooze in some of the canisters, and then I'm just going to throw away the ooze I don't want. Like, I don't want that black ooze. I'm just going to pour this green ooze into that canister. Next thing that you're going to want to do is just sand each of the oil drums. Now this will help the paint stick better. It'll give you a rough surface on to the canisters. But then also when you go to dry brush later, a lot of those details are going to pop. So let's go ahead and sand all of these now. Now I'm going to start deciding what colors I want to paint my oil drums. I'm going to do the first two, this yellow. I had some extra yellow from an art case and I don't want it to go to waste, so I'm going to go ahead and use that paint. So we'll get started painting these and then go on to the next color. Now I'm moving on to my next oil drums. Now I already spray painted these cans, but I'm just going to paint over them in red. Either way, the darker colors stick better. I'm definitely going to have to go back and give those yellow cans another coat, but in the meantime, I'll start working on the other oil drums. The next oil drums I'm working on, I wanted them to be black, and I made sure that I painted the clear oil drums black because I have a special idea for these. It's something I want to try and experiment with, and we'll get onto that once all this paint dries. Now I'm just going to give these yellow canisters another coat, and then we should be able to move on to the dry brushing and the detailing. And all of my cans are painted. Now I'm just going to start dry brushing some metallic silver. Now I'm doing this because I want it to look like each canister has some paint chipping, there's some wear, and I really want to dirty them up. So we're going to give it some rust effect by dry brushing some brown. But first we'll give it some layer of metallic silver. So you just want to keep adding layers and layers, and you can be sloppy with this if you'd like. You don't have to be perfect, and that's one of my favorite things about making some of the things that are just on the street or the elements. You don't have to be perfect or exact. It can really just be however you'd like it to be. So let's give everything that silver dry brush and move on to the next. So I have this rust red acrylic paint, and this is what I'm going to use to dirty up all of these oil drums and make sure that they're all nice and rusty and grimy. So we're going to do this for the yellow and the black cans. I'm not going to use it on the red cans because they already look kind of weathered and dirty enough. So this should be fine just for the yellow and black. So now that I'm done with all the dry brushing, I'm going to start adding some details to each of these oil drums. So each set of oil drums will get a different effect. And I think with these yellow oil drums, I'm going to give it an ooze or slime effect, which will match the ooze and slime that's inside. So hot glue is not just used for gluing things, but I think this will be a cool effect to emulate just some ooze or slime dripping from the barrel. So let's do that to both of these oil drums. And one of the best things about hot glue is it dries incredibly fast. So we can go ahead and start giving it a base coat of green, and then I'm going to overlay some neon blacklight paint on each of them. So you can really see how this neon activated blacklight paint really pops on these canisters. It's going to look great on a Ninja Turtle display, a toxic ooze facility, whatever you want to use it for. So here's an idea I had for those black canisters. I used the clear oil drums to paint them black, and I kept the bottom and the top clear. So this is an idea that I don't know if it's going to work, but we're going to try it. I'm applying lots of hot glue to the top, and then I'm taking some action figure packaging, which I don't like to throw away. I'm going to cut it up into little pieces and apply it to the top base of that hot glue that I just laid down. I'm trying to go for a flame effect here, so I'm really hoping this works. So we'll give it a shot. I'm going to do both of them like this too. Now I'm taking the oil drum, and I made sure that I put the flames on the bottom because I want to have the cap from the top able to be open and closed, because I'm going to take these tea candle lights and put it inside, and hopefully that's a cool candlelight effect. And after dimming the lights, I definitely am happy with how this came out. The effect I was looking for came out perfectly, and all you need were those tea lights and these clear oil drums, so that came out great. And just for demonstration purposes, if you have any leftover bags from the grocery store, you can put a liner inside the oil drum to make it for trash. Most of the oil drums are done. I'm just going to add a few more details on them. I love how they're looking in the light and when you turn the black light on, but let's add some signage to some of these oil drums. So you can just print out whatever signs you want and then glue them on with some Mod Podge. So I have one last idea now that these pairs of oil drums are done. I wanted to make another one, but do it in a way so it looked like some liquid or ooze was pouring out of it. So I'm going to go ahead and paint this hot glue that I applied and see how it looks. Alright, yeah, so that's the effect I was looking for. I gave it a base coat of regular green and then some of that neon blacklight green. I think this is going to look great on my Ninja Turtle display. Alright guys, I am done with this project. I had a great time just really getting creative, and there's different variations of these oil drums that I want to make just to show that you can really make these however you want. Great time making them. So on the left I have the two yellow rusted oil drums with some ooze coming out. I left the ooze in there just in case I ever wanted it for photos, and as an afterthought I had an idea to just make an empty barrel with some slime coming out. So I just laid it on its side. I poured a generous amount of hot glue, and then once that hot glue hardened and dried, I went ahead and painted it. I did a base coat of green and then put some neon blacklight green on it as well. Those ooze canisters would look great in my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle display. In the middle, I have the rusted red cans. I did some silver dry brushing so you can see some of the red paint chipping away. On one of them, I put some signage, danger, hazardous waste storage. And on the right, I really wanted to experiment with these, and I did some fire barrels. So let me get those lights on and we'll check them out. And yeah, that really just gives the illusion of fire. I absolutely love how that came out. That's going to be a great addition to any display that I choose to put it on. If I want to put it in my Marvel Legends or my Ninja Turtle display or just any kind of street scene, that is really a great effect. So really happy with that. And one last thing that I'll premise with before I end this episode is that there are people selling these on eBay. You can get a pack of 2 or 3 for about $25. Guys, keep an eye out at the Dollar Tree if you see these. Pick them up for a couple bucks, and then paint is relatively cheap. You can do this project, I would say, for anywhere from $15 to $20, less than that depending on how many you want to do, but you could buy it if you just want them quickly, or if you're feeling creative and you want to test your hand at diorama building or prop making, this is a great start. And that's all, folks. Thank you for watching. If you like this episode, leave a like, leave a subscribe, and ring that bell so that you get notifications of when I post my next episode. Until then, we'll catch you next time.